What we're going to discuss today is, if no one's been here before, we usually go through like our companies and such and why we do these workshops. And then we're going to jump right into the basics, like ABCs, the top 10 things that you can start practicing in order to get into this business and then to succeed. So it's basically rinse and repeat. You do these steps, continue to do them, continue to just become a black belt in the basics, and you'll succeed, okay? But it's not an overnight thing, so we're going to talk about that. Deacon Hoover Real Estate Advisors, Deacon and Hoover. It's Alex Deacon, Ian Hoover. We started this company about 1.5 years ago. We have about 15 agents now. We're an investor-friendly real estate company, knowledge and skills to help home sellers, home buyers, and real estate investors. We work close as a team. So when you hire someone like our company, you know, we're small and we can keep our quality at a high level. And quality is super important because you're usually asking someone, an agent, to help you find their biggest, you know, you're asking them to, hey, sell one of my largest assets, or help me find an asset that could be significant. So you just want an agent, or do you want an advisor who is a part of a team and who has Ian and I at a phone call away if there's an important question? Because sometimes a small change in a sales agreement or a decision that you make now could greatly impact that investment, whether you're buying or selling it. So I'm just saying, please try to think of us when you're going to be buying or selling your next property. You can come to us, and don't go to her. She works for Howard Hanna.
I'll be passing the cards out.
Oh, son of a gun. Mace Property Management. That's a company I started in 2002 with my wife. We manage about 650, 700 units. I always just, there's a caveat to property management. It's a luxury. It's not a necessity. So if you can manage your own properties, you should, because there's a small margin in this business. I mean, unless you're really good and you know stuff that I don't know, it's not easy, right? So the margin is small. So to give a management company 7, 8, 10% plus finder's fee, it gets expensive. So unless you can't manage it yourself due to where you're located, or unless you probably shouldn't manage property because you're just not a good property manager, not organized, your accounting systems are not in place, all that good stuff, then hire a property management company, and preferably ours, okay? And we have mortgage and title. Forgive me, my word skills and are not the best, obviously. Terra Mortgage Services, Jason Hoare, who's in the back, has been in the mortgage and title industry forever. He can do loans from an FHA single-family home, which you're going to live in, to a 9-unit commercial building. So you're going to want to see Jason. Do you have any cards on you?
No.
You don't?
No.
Darn it. Okay. Well, just think, if you go to...
come to a networking group without cards, right?
Exactly. I got like 6, but that's fine. If you go to our website, Terra Mortgage and HD8 Settlement is on there. HD8 Settlement is Hoover, Deacon, Hoare. They're the 3 owners of it. That's Jason, myself, and Ian. And we can do title work for you. Even if you don't use our lending services and you want to use our title services, just remember that, okay? Oh, boy. Ask yourself this. Oh, I apologize, guys. Okay. What you need to do, these are the basics. So before you get started, you need to ask yourself, why are you doing this, right? Why are you here? Why do you want to? You're going to help me out, Ian? Maybe? Why are you here? I mean, why are you doing why are you going to get up early on a Sunday morning and go look at 50 properties? You have to have a large enough why to want to fuel this fire, okay? If you're just doing this to get rich, it's probably not going to work. You have to have a reason, a big enough reason. Okay. If you're not, how do I say this? If you're lazy, you need to just go get a 9 to 5, I guess, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being lazy and getting a 9 to 5. It's totally fine, okay? But if you'd rather watch Oprah or a football game, if the Steelers game is more important to you than going out and looking at real estate, you're probably not going to be highly successful. It's just the way it is, okay? If you're willing to sacrifice like for instance, I had a meeting with some of my folks at Mace, some of my staff, and I tried to help them as far as how do they become an entrepreneur and how do they build their wealth. And the first question I asked was, are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing not to buy the Gucci purse or the Corvette or the shoes, or are you willing to sell the large house and move into a small house so you can pay everything off and invest your money? Are you willing to do that? So you're not going to be keeping up with the neighbors then, Oh, I don't drive a Corvette now. I drive a Chevette. And, I don't have a Gucci purse. I have the Walmart purse. Or I made the purse myself. Whatever. Okay? You have to be willing to sacrifice, or you're not going to be highly successful. I'm not saying you won't be successful. You can always be successful doing this. But just understand you have to be willing to sacrifice and give up. If you're not willing to do that, then that's the question you need to ask yourself is, why am I here and how bad do I want it? Okay? You have to be learning based. So you have constantly learning. Like I was talking with Mike today and talked about 3 flips I just did. One I made 30,000 on, one I made 4 on. The one I made 4 on, my lender made more than I did. And then the third one, I'll probably end up losing 5,000 on it. So I'm still learning. And I've been doing this a long time. And I just made, the errors I made were basically, when I did my analysis on it, I estimated too high. I was too liberal on the price that I was going to sell it for. And I underestimated my repairs a little bit. So I was a little over on my budget, which is typical. I mean, it's standard. But yeah, I mean, and the holding costs are crucial right now. They're killing me. They're like $2,000 a month. So on a property like that, I'm going to probably end up holding it, renting it out, selling it in 5 years, and then making my profit. But what am I doing? That's delayed gratification for me, right? I'm delaying that profit for long down the road. A lot of my properties that I buy, I don't see the cash. It's not coming in so I can go buy a diamond ring. It's not coming in so I can go ahead and buy that Corvette. That cash is just sitting out there in cyberland. It's sitting in a property, and that's just the way it is. So you're not going to be spending this money. You're going to be just constantly working and saving it and growing that portfolio. And eventually you'll get there. Be nice. You don't have to be a jerk or a cutthroat to succeed. A lot of people misunderstand that in this business or any business, you have to be a cutthroat. You don't. I work with a lot of investors. They bring deals to me. I bring deals to them. We work together. We all make money. If we can't make money together, then it's a lose-lose situation, and I don't like that. And you're not going to get anywhere if you're constantly win-lose. I win, you lose. If everybody can win or feel like they're winning, it's gonna work out. And probably the most important thing is never give up. So this sounds like a motivational class, but it is. This is part of real estate. If you don't have a reason or a vision, if you don't have a work ethic, if you're not learning based, if you think you know everything, if you're not nice, you could be not nice and still succeed, but I'd prefer to be nice and not a jerk. And if you give up, you're not going to make it. So you're never going to give up. Step 1, set your goals. So why are you dreaming? Well, I mean, while you're dreaming, you might as well dream big, right? So you already hit the jackpot by being born in this country. I think I read something that if you make over $30,000, you're in the top 1% globally. So, man, when you wake up in the morning, you should just be jumping for joy. Hey, I was born in America. But if you're going to dream big. So put those dreams up there like, hey, I want to be a gajillionaire. Okay, that's fine. But those dreams have to be, you have to have a business plan on how to get there. A dream is nothing without some sort of plan, right? So have a vision, have a pathway to get to that success. You have 365 days a year, 29,200 days in an average 80-year-old lifespan. That's not a lot of days. I'm 51. I'm down there probably like 9,000 days left. So if that doesn't put a fire under your rear end, I don't know what will. But then the other way to look at it is, hey, just, smell the roses. Take your time. You don't have to get up and say, oh crap, 9,687 days left today. I got to get moving. You got to enjoy it too. The balance between the two, I think, is a success in itself. If you can balance that drive for success and knowing that, hey man, slow it down. I have a grandson now who's 6 months old. Enjoy that. So having that balance is success in itself. And most importantly, you cannot procrastinate. That's the top one, right? Don't procrastinate. You got to take action. You have to know what you're doing, learn, be confident, and at some point you have to pull the trigger. Okay, don't procrastinate. That'll kill you. You won't go anywhere. You'll be spinning your wheels. One step at a time. A lot of little goals will equal one large goal someday. So one step at a time. You'll eventually get to the top of whatever that is. You'll be tired, but you'll get there. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this. If you double a penny every day for 30 days, you wouldn't think this, but you'll end up with $5,368,000. Doubling a penny. So day 2, you have 2 cents. Day 6, you have 32 cents. You see where it starts to really compound is maybe day 25. It goes from 167,000 to 335,000 to 671,000. That's what real estate is. After 20 years, you're going to be buying this property and realizing that you look at your balance sheet and you'll be like, wow, okay, I'm worth that much money? So that was all worth it. So I can live my dreams, which was the why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Do you want to retire early? Do you want to spend more time with your kids? Do you want to give back to community? Whatever it is, you have to have a why. It can't just be money. If it's money, it's probably not a big enough why. And these are all the foundations for success. So it's nothing to do with real estate. This is the foundations. You're laying the groundwork here. So it's having that vision, having that confidence, be learning based. If you start right and stick with the basics and master the basics, become a black belt in the basics, you'll build something like that that will last 10,000 years and still going. You'll notice there's no Home Depot windows or doors on those properties. What does your retirement look like to you? What does it look like to you? What is retirement in your mind? Is it in the bathtubs with your wife there? That's a Lakeview property right there. Okay, so budgets, super important. This is all boring stuff, but you have to live below your means. What is your current debt? What's your highest interest credit card? Get that sucker paid off. Then hit the next one. How many times have you heard this? Who's that lady on Sandy Orman? Is that her name? Or Susie Orman? I mean, she preaches this stuff. It's basic. Man, my mother taught me this. My mom could squeeze a quarter, make it scream, and make that sucker into 50 cents somehow. She taught me everything I know about budgeting. She cleans saran wrap and we reuse it. Reynolds wrap, so you can name it. She cleans it and reuses it. That's a little extreme, but you have to do that. You have to treat your business like that. You can't love money. You just have to love what it can do for you, and you have to respect it. You can't just love it. It's just not going to work.
Did she live through the Depression?
Yeah, she was born right at the tail end. She was probably 5 or 10 when the Depression was going. So she's got that mentality. Like where my kids, I got to see some of that. My kids, they don't see that. So it concerns me a little bit because what are you going to do? You can't teach that. You have to kind of have to see it and go through it. It is what it is. So pay off the highest debt. Continue till you're debt free. So right now I'm 51 now, and I got to a point where I said I want to pay everything off. I'm to the point where I'm close, like 2 or 3 years from paying everything off. Not all my properties, but my house, my car, other debts that I have. We're 2 to 3 years out. Okay, and then it's just all gravy from there. I just want to be debt free. So if I could have done that, I could have been debt free easily at age 30. But I was blinded by my passion to grow and be a big shot, I guess. When you're 30, you just want to grow and own all this property and brag about it, I guess. I don't know why I was doing it. I didn't have a big enough why. Right now I just want to have freedom and the ability to do what I want to do which I will always be busy doing something, and building businesses and helping others and stuff like that. I enjoy that. But you have to start budgeting, folks. You can't just, you can't max out the credit cards and succeed. You just can't, man. You guys have to sacrifice. Are you willing to sacrifice? That's half the battle, okay? Continue to buy assets, in this case, real estate investments. And the thing with your goals is making sure, I don't ever want to say, do you ever say to your kid that if they want to be a doctor, you say, oh, son, you're too stupid to be a doctor. Why don't you'll probably be a garbage man or maybe, just focus on that. So why would you tell yourself that, right? So dream big. But you also have to do that mirror test, right? You look in the mirror and say, okay, if I dream big, if I want to be $100 millionaire, $100 million, am I willing to sacrifice that, which is 80-hour weeks? And I mean, there's no other way. Are you willing to sacrifice that? Then that should be your goal. If you're not willing to sacrifice and put the work forth, then lower your goals. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Goal's a goal. Small goals, large goals. Just know yourself. We're going to skip that. What do you want your portfolio to look like? That's important. Where do you want to buy? A areas, B areas, C areas, and D areas. What is an A area? I'm just going to take some, with a show of, anybody raise their hand, what's an A area to you?
I'm going to say like Swickley, Mount Lebanon, for around.
Yeah, that's a good one. Swickley, Mount Lebanon. What's another A area?
Upper St. Clair.
Upper St. Clair, okay. I would think like a Lawrenceville is not an A school district, but it's an A area, I consider A areas top school districts, average income household is fairly high, low crime, highly desirable, high demand for owner-occupied properties is usually an A area. But then there are A areas like, as an investor, because like Oakland, right? You want to buy something that maybe is right next to a college. Where you might not necessarily want to live in Oakland because your kids would go to Pittsburgh schools and maybe you don't like Pittsburgh schools, it's, whatever. But that's an A area for an investor, maybe not an A area for an owner-occupant, okay? And you have a B area. What would, in my opinion, a B area is like a Carnegie, because that's I'm from Carnegie. Brookline, probably a B area.
Township.
Moon Township is probably borderline B, A minus, B plus. Yeah. Now, are you going to find deals in A areas that cash flow?
Not right away. Not right away. Once every few years.
Yeah, once in a while.
Once in a blue moon.
Right. You're gonna in A. So the reason I'm going over this is because you need to understand. You need to know, like, what an area is and what comes with that area, what stresses and bad and good things come with an A, B, C, and D area. Yes, sir.
What is considered a good cash flow? Positive?
It depends. It's so dependent on you and your finances. So I was telling Mike, I bought a house in South Fayette. I was flipping it. I'm going to lose money on it. Okay. So do I need to make a decision where I should keep it, rent it out, probably lose about $200 a month because it's not going to cash flow, but in 5 years I'll be able to sell it for probably about a $35,000 profit, okay, and pay only capital gains tax versus regular income tax on it. So can I absorb that $200 a month loss and make money after 5 years? I can financially. Fortunately for me. So what's a good cash flow? It really depends on you and what you're looking for short-term or long-term. Okay, if it's short-term, then I would say you want to get at least high single digits, right? Because what can you get in the stock market? What's the average stock market? Isn't it like 8% or something over the course of the lifetime of the...
10 to 12%.
Is it?
About 10% for the last 30 years or so.
So that's pretty good. So I don't know what. So maybe base it off of that. You know, but real estate has some better. You know, has some tax benefits to real estate. Real estate appreciates, so there's benefits there that you don't see in that rate of return right off the bat. Yes, sir.
And one of my many rails against the stock market, the only way you achieve that is by selling the stock.
True. Yeah, selling at the right time.
For the next 80 years.
Right. That's so true. Because when do you sell it will depend on.
Consume the asset whenever you take your profit.
Right. So in order to set your goals and put your business plan in place, you need to figure out, and it's hard at the beginning, on what you want your portfolio to look like. Is it all A properties? If it's all A properties, then you're not going to cash flow a whole lot. But in the long run, you're going to have some quality properties, right? And they're going to appreciate at a good rate. If you want to cash flow a lot, but there's a lot of headache involved with it, lots and lots, D areas. D areas you can cash flow, you can rent. You can rent Section 8, you can buy a house for $15,000, you can fix it up, put $5,000 into it, and you know, you're dealing with folks that are getting their rent paid for free. And what I've seen is when folks are getting free stuff, they don't care as much about your stuff, okay? But you're going to cash flow, but there's negative things that come along with that. But I know a woman who I sold a house to, and she owned 100 Section 8 properties, and she loved them. She worked like a dog, but she loved them. The good thing about like a D area is there's potential for that D area to turn into an A area, right? Like,
Nowhere else, right?
you're like a Lawrenceville, probably South Side was a D area at one time, I'm guessing, like 35 years ago. Garfield, East Liberty is a perfect one. I could have bought a block in East Liberty for 10 grand. Now you can't even buy a house that needs torn down for 10 grand, you know? It's going to cost you 10 grand to tear it down. You can't even buy that for 10 grand. So if you're smart enough, maybe smart enough or lucky enough to foresee the future, then you would have bought everything in East Liberty, rented it to lower income housing, dealt with what you dealt with, and now you're a multi-millionaire, and you really did nothing different than the guy who bought in an area that never really took off. But where is that next hot area? I have no idea. And if I knew that, I would say this all the time, I wouldn't be up here teaching you guys. I would be on a beach somewhere. If I knew that. I'm sorry, I'm selfish. Okay, let's purchase our first investment. So we did this way back, and this is setting up your goals and putting your expectations out there. So I just picked some numbers here. So let's just say if your goal is to have 2.5 million, right? Is that right? 2.5 million, 90%. Okay, yeah. So if your goal is to own 2.5 million, okay, and you're buying in, let's say, a B or C area, you can expect to pay about $100,000 for a house in those areas, just totally ballpark. So that means you need about 25 homes, right? Am I wrong there? 25 times 100, 2.5 million? Okay. Pick an average price of 100,000, and the rental amount is 1,200. So these are all rules of thumb, which I don't like, but for this circumstance, we're going to do that. So you get these all paid off, then figure 50% of your income is going to go back into the property for repairs, capital improvements, taxes, insurance, vacancies, accounting, evictions, you name it, right? That means $600 a month times 14 homes equals $108,000 a year. Let me back up. So your goal at the beginning here was, it can be either two goals. You'd say, okay, in 15 years, I want to own $2.5 million worth of real estate, okay? Or your goal can be, in 15 years, I want to own real estate that puts in my pocket income $10,000 or $100,800 a year, okay? That could be one property, right? That could be one property in New York. That could be one property. I'm just picking an area. So if you do this and you figure out how much properties are going to appreciate over the next 15 years, all that good stuff by paying them off in 15 years, all that, you're going to need to buy not 25 homes, I apologize, at 100,000, but after 15 years, those homes are going to be worth more, right? If you buy one for 115, they're going to be worth, 100,000. In 15 years, they're going to be worth more than that, correct? Okay. So that means your goal has to be, I have to buy 14 homes right now, maybe over the next 5 to 7 years, in order to reach my 15-year plan to have them paid off and making me $100,800 a year. So that's Alex math there. You have to do your own math and figure it out. But I'm saying is have that goal. Where do you want? Don't go the route, I want to own so many units, because that doesn't mean anything. You could own 100 units that are worth $30,000 a unit. You could own 2 units that are worth $5 million each, okay? So the goal should be, what area do I want to buy in, right? How much money do I want to make when I retire, when I'm done doing this, a month or a year? Then you kind of have to back into it, okay? You have to back into that. And this is not a science, but you have to have some sort of target and some sort of goal that you're shooting for. So you have to kind of, sit down and think about this and go over it. And have it like literally embedded in your mind. You're thinking about it all the time. Okay, I got to reach that goal. That means I got to get up today. I got to look at 100 homes. I have to make offers on 10. I have to buy 1. Rinse and repeat. Making your first purchase. The most important task in real estate investments. What is the most important thing as a real estate investor? I teach this all the time. The most important thing to know when buying real estate. It's right up there. You need to find the properties. If you can't find the deals, so if you're not looking all the time, networking all the time, passing out your cards, sending out, and Josh is going to get into the part where you market out to people, and you promote yourself to find these deals. I don't do that. What I do is I just go on the multi-list. I network with guys like Dave and Mike and Ian, and they'll bring deals to me, or I'll bring deals to them. And that's how I do it. I'm constantly networking and going on the multi-list and just seeing a for sale by owner sign. I don't do the marketing part, which Josh will teach you how to do, which is another tool in your tool belt. But if you can't find the properties, you're not going to go anywhere because there's nothing to buy. 2, what else do you need in order to buy properties? What was that?
Money.
Money. Who said that? Oh, wow. You're a genius. You're the only one that knew that. You got to have the capital, okay? There's so many different levels of what you need, right? You need to be learning based. You need to sacrifice. You need to set your goals. You need to have balance in your life. You need to have money to buy the properties. Last month's class was on how to buy 0 money down. So you don't necessarily need money to buy. It's just there's ways around that. It's much easier if you're able to raise capital or you have the money. Much easier. Everything else doesn't matter unless you have money and you have the deals. Where do you find killer deals? Well, who's recently bought something? Where did you buy and how did you find it?
It was on the MLS, but it was in Ingram, and I like Ingram because of the school district.
Oh, that's right. You bought the house and you were flipping it?
And the home price is in relation to what you get as far as the school district. And I live near there, so it's easy for me to.
So you found it through the MLS. It was close to home, so you could manage the project.
The price was right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Did you have any scenarios like when I buy something, I always have options. Option A is, in that case, sell it and make a nice profit. Option B would be sell it and make a profit. C would be break even. D would be hold on to it and rent it out.
Yeah, we're kind of thinking about holding on to it and renting it out. We're going to do better than break even on it, but we feel like that area is going to appreciate, and we might hang on to it for a few years.
Okay, so option A for you was to sell it and make a nice profit.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out. Why?
Well, we still made may do that, but we may.
So you're not ready for the market yet? You're not,
We're not, no, we're almost done with it.
okay. Who else bought something recently? Yes, ma'am.
Bought it from Craigslist,
Mm-hmm.
almost ready to put it on the market.
Fantastic. And that's a flip, right?
Yeah, really cheap property over in Knoxville,
Okay.
so not a huge profit, but
Yeah.
a little bit at a time, keep making a little bit.
Did you have different scenarios? If she bought something in Knoxville, Knoxville's kind of rough, but Knoxville also has the option of potentially going right instead of left. Right would be going up in value. Left would be the,
It's
you know.
taking its time, but it's
Yeah.
more steady than other areas.
But did you have different options in your head of, hey, if it doesn't sell, then, oh, I'm just going to rent it out? And,
Yeah.
okay. That's a good one because you got it cheap.
Real cheap.
I'm assuming that you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank right now? Okay, I mean, you never know. Never know. But that's a good place to start because she paid so little for it that the downside is almost non-existent. You can always sell it and probably get your money back, even if you lose a couple thousand. That's a lot cheaper than a Harvard education, and you've learned way more than what Yale or Harvard will teach you by buying that one property.
Especially because it was for sale by owner and yeah.
So she found it on Craigslist. I found mine on the multi-list through networking, things like that. She found hers on Craigslist. You found yours on the multi-list. Who else has bought something recently?
My neighbor, so I just bought it off my neighbor.
Oh, okay. Your neighbor? Awesome. Yeah.
Originally I was planning, I'm holding it way too long.
Mhm.
It's a single family house and I was planning on renting it out, but now I've decided I should sell it.
Yeah. 'Cause
Fix it up and sell it.
yeah. Yeah.
I probably
You don't, it
held
doesn't
for
sound
a
like you don't have a clear picture of what
I
you're.
held it for a year at this point. I'm like, it's just different things that have come up, so
Yeah.
I haven't been real diligent.
I've done it. I still do it. But I'll buy like 10 at a time and then I got 5 sitting. I'm like, slow down, bro. I mean, what do you teach in your classes? Quality versus quantity. And I get caught up in I just bought 10 homes. Well, so what? How much are you going to make? You're going to lose money, probably. So,
For you, why did your owner want to sell? Can I ask?
He inherited the property from his dad who owned a whole lot of properties and he didn't want to be a landlord, so he was selling off everything that his dad had.
Okay.
So he, whatever money he made off of it was money in his pocket. He didn't care.
Okay.
all right. So, your power team would be where do you find killer deals? Multi-list, Craigslist, neighbor, agents, your attorney, your accountant, the guy who give you the coffee at the drive-thru at Starbucks. Hey, here's my card. Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell a house? Oh, yeah, I do. I mean, come on. You have 1,000 cards that might cost you, I don't know, $15 or $20. That $15 or $20 may turn into a $30,000 profit somewhere. So you're a walking billboard. You're advertising for your business and your future. Anybody you talk to could have a deal. Networking and social networking groups. REIA, which Josh is basically spearheads and leads the Western PA REIA. So who's a member of REIA here? So there's quite a few. REIA is just Real Estate Investors.
Association.
Okay. Of America? So it's REIA OA? REIA OA? Real Estate. And then there's ACRE, which is, that's
American
Josh's,
of real estate.
that's Josh's competition. Yeah, American Congress
Congress.
of Real Estate. I don't know where they got that one. Okay. American Congress of Real Estate. They meet every second Tuesday. No, they meet every first Tuesday of the month.
Tree, double, yeah, whatever it is, right there on Mansfield.
Yes, and then Josh is the third Tuesday of the month in the North Hills. So you can go to REIAPittsburgh.com or Pittsburgh REIA, and everything's on there. You guys should probably join that group. It's an excellent group and a good resource for learning and networking. Yes, sir.
How much is the membership for the REIA?
They're not much. I'm guessing. Does anybody know?
It's like 100.
100 for the first
They're
year
almost
and
the same.
69 or 79.
Yeah, it's
Every year afterwards.
Acres
Acres 140.
yeah, it's marginal. It's a great
Hit us right off too.
Yeah, that's a great place to network too. If you have houses to sell or buy, or you just want to learn, or you want to get mentored by, hang around people that are smarter than you and better at doing what you want to do, and they're good and highly successful at it, hang around those folks.
Lots of people there are anxious to take their success stories and also their failures, which is just really great education.
Absolutely. Okay. So many other ways to find deals. Anywhere. Networking. Press in the flesh. Handshake. Handing out your cards. Okay.
Hold on a second. Could you go back to that?
Yep. Bigger Pockets is a good website. That's like a forum for real estate investors. If you go onto Bigger Pockets, you can follow me on there. I'm posting things all the time on there. So I think if you follow me, you'll just get an email when I post something. Plus, I have a couple blogs on there. If you go to the DHRE website, that's our real estate website. If you go to dhre.com and click on free learning, we have about 30 hours of podcasts on there. We're talking from anything from how to evict a tenant to how to buy a house with zero money down and everything in between. Another place to that you maybe didn't think of, talking with property managers, right? So if you get to know, literally pick up the phone and start calling property managers, right? So we have 3 property managers in my office. If you got Deanna's number, April's number, Travis's number, and you just called them once in a while, hey Travis, it's me again, that pain in the butt. I wanted to see, what do you got? You got any owners that want to sell right now? That's a couple hours of cold calling every day will get you leads, okay? Maybe a funeral director. Hey, who died today? I don't know. I'm just, trying to think outside the box here. Okay. Analyzing a deal. Probably, man, we're going to run out of time here. The analyzing the deal is really an important part of this, so maybe we'll jump to that real quick. Here's how not to analyze a deal, or here's not a good thing to do, okay? If you look at 15 properties, 15, and you like 5 of them, you probably should stop. Because there's no way, if you look at 15 and you like 5, and you want to make offers on 5, that's not enough. That's not enough. You should be looking at hundreds, maybe thousands. Online, you're not going to physically look at thousands. Like I probably look at online and, I don't know, maybe 3,000 properties a month. Let's say 100 a day. Yeah, that's about 3,000 a month. I probably look at 3,000 a month online, because on the multi-list, I look at everything that's new, anything that changed price, anything the status went from under contract to back to active. I like those ones because the owner's like, hey, I just went under contract. Okay, I'm going to move now. And then the deal falls through, and now they got a vacant house. And winter's coming. So I'm like, ooh, and that price is reasonable. Maybe I can go in a little low and make a deal there. Okay? So I'm always looking. So you look at 3,000 houses a month, and I buy on average from, I probably buy average 3 a month. Okay? It sounds like a lot, but it's not, because some of them are just throwaways. We don't make any money on them. You know what I'm saying? But it's 3,000, and I buy 3. So what's that? That's less than 1%, right?
0.1%.
Yeah. Okay. So if you look at 15 and you want to buy 5, whoa, back off a little bit. Get someone else to give you another opinion. Get one of our agents to help you. And then if there's any question, those agents are going to reach out to me, and I can do a quick analysis a lot of times in 5 minutes. I might even know the address. Be like, what about this one? Nope. Oh, you just saved me like 4 hours, of my time, because I might know about it. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, man, use me or use our resources so I can help save you time. If I look at 3,000 properties a month, I had to go look at them, I would pass out. I would have a heart attack, and I would never buy anything. I'd be on house 2,872, and I didn't get to make an offer. Okay, take a closer look. As I look at 3,000 a month, I probably physically get in my car and look at 100 a month, okay? So I'll drive by them or I'll walk through them. I walked through one that Dave sent me yesterday that was a hoarder. It was the worst one. I've been in some bad houses. This was number one. This was number one. I was skeptical. I said, Dave, I've seen it all, brother. I was thinking, nah,
No, you didn't.
I've seen it all after yesterday. I was literally like 9-foot ceilings, and I was walking on so much garbage I could touch the ceiling throughout the whole house. I mean, I was like Spider-Man, and I had to go up to the stairs. I had to, my web. I had to get up to the attic. It was gross, man. But I had to go see it. He wouldn't even go in.
I didn't go in.
You went in.
I didn't go to the third floor of the basement
Yeah.
because I didn't want to fill up that big
Yeah.
hill of trash.
No, that trash mountain was all mine. It was all over that.
So did you buy it? You're gonna buy it?
I'm making an offer. Now the basement actually had a dead animal in it. It looked like maybe it was a raccoon. It was just completely dissolved. It was disgusting.
I wasn't going to call you to come with me. I did the first, I was the Lewis and Clark on that one.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so I look at maybe 100 a month. No, let me back up. I look at 3,000. I probably take a closer look online at maybe 200. So 3,000 to 200. Out of those 200, I probably whittle that down to maybe driving by 100. And then I'll make offers on 5, and I'm lucky to get 2 or 3. And if I was really good, I'd probably just buy 2 instead of 3, because the third one's usually like marginal, So you have to be really selective. So just because you found it doesn't mean you're buying it. It has to be the right, what? Price. What has to happen? It has to be the right. Yeah, I was trying to. I made this like 6 months ago, so I can remember what T stood for. I'm just making. Yeah, I don't know. It can be time or term. So time could be, in my mind, if I don't have anything on my inventory right now and I need to buy something, just even if I make a small margin just to keep people busy and put my money to work, then I'm going to pay more, right? If I have 10 projects going on, then I'm going to be really selective. And if I'm not getting a great deal, I'm not going to buy it. So time or terms. What was another T somebody said? Was it terms and time?
I just said tenants, but that, just the T word.
So terms is good too. It has to be the right terms. It could be the right price, but the wrong terms, It could be the wrong price, but the right terms, like a wrong, that's what we talked about last month was buying zero money down, where you lose a lot of leverage when you're buying zero money down because you're buying zero money down. So your leverage is kind of taken away. When you're buying cash, you can close quick, you have more leverage. So I know a lot of folks that will buy a property and they're really paying a lot for it, or they're paying a fair price, but the terms are really bad, So terms and price have to both be good. And I couldn't remember what W&B was. You have to be, that's it. So when you make offers on 100 houses, right? Yeah, you have to be the winning bid. So, 3,000 homes, look at 200 closer, go see 100, make offers on like 20. Sometimes you get none. Like last month, I did all that work and I bought nothing last month. I put hours, probably 40 hours in of work. Got nothing.
I don't
Yes,
know
sir.
if you know Larry Lobster.
I do know him.
Yeah, Les. And he said, if I'm not embarrassed to make the offer, I didn't do my job right.
True. It's true. That's so true. It's important to act quickly, okay? It's so important to act quickly. So we bought an office building at 552 Washington and Carnegie, and that's where we run our operations now. That office building was up for sale forever. I drove by it 1,000 times. I decided to finally call on it one day. Well, the day I call on it, the guy's like, yeah, we got another offer. I'm like, are you serious? It was on the market for 18 years and now you have another offer? I couldn't have called 2 weeks ago. So I wanted it really bad. It was perfect timing for me to buy. So it was listed for $335, which is a steal. We ended up paying $365. So I cost myself $30,000. Well, I probably cost myself $90,000, right? Because if he's asking $335 and it's on the market for 18 years, I think he'd probably come down a little bit. So I could probably got it for 300,000. I had to pay 370.
It was
So-
on the market for 18 years.
No,
That
it's
wasn't an
maybe,
exaggeration.
maybe 8 years. I mean, literally years. Okay, years. Exaggerating. Okay, maybe it wasn't 18. But
Numbers are important to me.
that's why I say don't procrastinate. If it looks like a good deal, get out there. Just, you get busy and you miss deals. I hate that, but you miss deals all the time because you're just too busy. So when Dave called me about the deal, it was yesterday, day before.
2 days ago, I think.
I was on it. I said, I'll get over there today. And I tried to get over there that day, but the guy wasn't available when I was. So I got over there yesterday. And if we put the deal together, it's that, boom, it works. But I didn't procrastinate. And luck doesn't hurt either, but the harder you work, the
Luckier you are.
luckier you are. Okay, so summary. You must have a team in place. Who is that team? You need to raise your real estate IQ. How? We talked about that. You have to have the capital. Goals and visions. Willing to work for free and sacrifice. Do it all again and again and again. And eventually your goals will come to fruition. Okay, we're going to take is there any questions?
Yeah, you say you're buying like 3 properties a month. You're holding them? Are you renting them out? Are you fixing them? What's going on?
Some of them we just sell right away. Like, what was your first name?
Gina.
Gina. Gina works for Howard Hanna. Howard Hanna. Sorry. But Gina sold one of our listings that we bought. So we bought a house on Kennywood Boulevard for like $6,000, and we had to clean it out, and we had to pay to hold it, and we had to pay commissions, and we ended up selling for 13, and we broke even. So that's one deal. We did nothing to it, and we broke even. It's a complete waste of time and resources and energy, and right, happens all the time. Another example would be one that we just did, and we flipped it in Brookline, and we're going to make maybe $20,000. We did a nice flip on it. Gorgeous home, great place to live. Someone wants to buy it. That's the way it's supposed to work. And then sometimes we'll buy with the intentions to hold it, just because it's a good investment. There's a lot of upside to the property in the area, and that's really where the long-term wealth is, by keep accumulating.
Right.
That's the long-term wealth. But you can do 100 flips a year and I guess make a whole lot of money doing that too. But I like to do a little bit of everything.
But you've got enough people in place that you can get people out to a place and working on it,
Yeah, sometimes when I get like I said, when I don't know my limitations and I decide to buy 10 properties, because you got to know what it costs to buy those, to hold them. You have to think it through, Any other questions before we take a 5-minute break?
You mentioned buying property with credit cards. How do you get money off the credit cards to do that?
Well, if you have a credit card, don't they usually have like a cash? You can use.
I mean, the cash is like, if I have a credit limit of 10,000, the cash advance is like 1,000.
Okay. Then what you need to do is continually.
Do you know any merchants that pull the money off the card for you for a fee?
I mean, the first thing you need to look at is what's your credit score? What is my debt to income? So if you're like, your credit score sucks and your debt to income is really high, the first thing you need to do is work on that, right? That's step one, baseline level. Then you need to work on increasing your lines of credit somehow, whether it's through Bruno, the guy's going to lend you money and break your legs if you don't pay, to the credit card, to hard money lenders. But you need to know the basics, which is no matter what you're doing, whether it's a hard money lender or Bruno or PNC Bank, they want to know they're going to get paid back. And what's their only, other than breaking your legs, that's incentive. The other guys, they want to know they're lending to somebody who can pay them back. And how do they know that? Just by your credit score and your past history of paying your car payment, your rent. So you need to work on that. How do you buy with a credit card? I bought my first one, maybe this was like 95, and somehow I got 5,000 on my credit card. Maybe it was different back then. It's probably changed a lot since the bank crash and all that. It's tighter. But yeah, I bought my second property with a $5,000 cash advance off my credit card. Yeah.
I have the answer to the gentleman, or part of an answer to the gentleman's question back
Okay.
there. I have a home equity line. The home equity line is tied to a 16-digit credit card. And my credit score is pretty good. I get offers all the time in the mail
Right.
for a balance transfer.
Yeah,
So
so
I
if
transfer-
you, that's called a secured line of credit. So but you don't have a house or you don't have a car that's paid off, then you just have to go small and work your way up. Does that answer your question?
He said something really interesting about the HELOC. So because you have that HELOC and it's essentially a credit card, you can also, well, it's a bank account with money that is tapped to your house, so you can essentially take cash from it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have credit cards and you transfer the balance of the credit cards to your HELOC credit card.
Right.
All right.
Or the HELOC just stays with your bank and you can write a check against the HELOC.
Yeah, you don't
That's
necessarily
why.
need a credit card. If you have
No, you don't need a credit card.
If you have
just need-
security like a 401k or your home or a car that's paid off, that's all security which you can borrow against. Okay, credit card's like your last resort. You don't want to buy something on a credit unless that's the only option you have.
So I'm
Okay.
just looking into a HELOC. My problem is that I own a home outright and I also have a mortgage that I live in,
Mhm.
and I believe you have to live in the property. You're getting
No, you own that property free and clear, the one you
got
rent?
collateral. Yeah.
the one I'm renting. Yes.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And you
but,
have
but I have a mortgage as well, so I'm not sure if that
on your house, the one you live in.
Yes.
Now you own that property free and clear?
No.
One of them I own.
The other one, yeah, you can
He
use
lives
that
in the
as
one.
you can use that as
You
security.
can get a HELOC
Yeah.
even though you don't have your mortgage paid off on your house.
Yep. See,
Well,
you can
just
see me during the break or talk to Jason back there.
Okay.
Think of that house that
I got
you're-
one more question because we got to get rolling. What's up?
This was just a comment. I have like Capital One card and stuff. They send me checks in the mail that I can use
Yep. That
right
happens.
on my credit card. So a
Okay.
lot of times they're interest free for a year.
Could you maybe give him that checkbook and just work?
They used to come.
That'll be a win-win, Ian.
25%.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so based on your opinion, like, how many units do you own so you can start like having hired like a full-time employee?
Before you hire a full-time employee,
Yeah.
you can't go by units, right? Because I could own one unit in Hawaii that's worth $5 million.
Well, I mean.
Or I could own 100 units in Knoxville that are worth 20,000 each.
But I think if you have more units, you got like more, more retail, you got more tenants, you got more people to deal with.
Yeah, the more units, the more headaches, the more structure you're gonna need, the more systems, the more people. What the number is, it depends on what you got going on in your life. Like I managed 30 units myself before and I could do that and work a full-time job, but I was young. And now I couldn't do that. I'd be like, no, I'm done. I'm cutting out. So it depends on how old you are, your reluctancy for as far as risk and liability, and it's a tough question to ask. It's a
How
tough
many
one.
employees do you have?
I mean, it's a hard question to answer. I'm sorry.
Like full-time?
We have so we manage about 650 units. We run pretty tight. We have probably 5 people.
Cause, okay, so there's another big
Yeah.
landlord in Pittsburgh and he has like 500 units and he
Yeah.
has 5 people on his staff.
Yeah, that's
So-
running pretty tight.
And they're all average houses.
But I know another company who manages 230 units and they have like 8. You know what I mean? So they're
Yeah.
they're overstaffed. It's you see what I'm saying? How hard that is for me to answer.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that gives you some idea.
Yeah.
And it depends on the units, man. If I got 100 units that are Section 8 in lower income areas, you better double or triple your staff. If I got 100 units in Upper St. Clair that are $1,500 a month, you run that on a shoestring. Couple people could do that. One person could, depends on that. Okay, 5-minute break, and then I'm gonna go through looking at a couple properties real quick, show you how to analyze them super quick and what I do every day, and then Josh is gonna show you how to find the properties in less conventional means of what I've talked about. Okay, 5 minutes. So how to analyze properties efficiently at home. This is super important. So we're going to zip through this. First of all, nothing is more important than knowing the areas. But even if you know the areas, pictures, right? Pictures are way more important than what the seller tells you. If the seller says, hey, it's in great shape, are you going to believe that? No, I want to see pictures and walking the neighborhood, knowing the neighborhood. If you want to invest in real estate, time is always the enemy. So in order to be successful with this, to look at 3,000 properties a month and go analyze 200 and then go see 100, you have to be able to manage your time. So you have to become super efficient at this. What can help tremendously? Detailed pictures, room sizes. Why are room sizes important? Because if it's a 4-bedroom house, but one of the bedrooms captive, you got to walk through one to get to the other, and the captive bedroom is 10 by 2, 10 foot by 2, not really a bedroom. So like we sold a house in Carrick, or we're trying to sell one, and I priced it as a 3-bedroom. It's really a 2-bedroom. The 3rd bedroom is like 9 by 7. It's not working, you know? So it's really valued. I should have valued it as a 2-bedroom, but for some reason I didn't. Okay. Description of the property, balance of any liens. Why is the balance of any liens important on the property before you go see it? Anybody? Nobody? Because, why?
You need to add that to the cost of the property.
Kind of. What happens if the balance on the property is $100,000? Let's say they owe $100,000 on this property, $100,000, and it's worth $80,000. Do you want to waste your time going to see it?
No.
No. You can always do a short sale, but short sales are difficult. Most of the times they don't work. What I'm saying is you got to know how to manage your time. Having all these would make procedure so much easier. Most cases you don't get pictures, balance of liens, and all that. You can't get all of it. But if you can, great. The address. Why is the address important? Yeah.
Especially school district.
Good to know where it is, right? Get the right zip code too. We had just a real quick story on that from Mace Property Management. We had one of our contractors go on Ohio River Boulevard. I think it was Ohio River Boulevard. Yeah, and it's 15202. Ohio River Boulevard is probably like 4 zip codes, right? So he went to the house on Ohio River Boulevard and ripped off a deck in the back. It was pretty bad. And then we realized that he ripped off the wrong deck. Because he had the wrong zip code. So make sure you have the right zip code. That's really important. Back taxes, total of all liens. We already talked about why that's important. Research the value. If the property's upside down, you can stop there. If they owe 100 and it's worth 80, just stop, go on to the next one. Or if they're asking, you get it. Okay. Why should you ever take a person's word for the condition of the house? Do I need to say more on that one? This is how a seller sees their house. This is Mount Oliver house. This is how usually I see it. And like, you know, right? That's how we look at it. And it always looks good or it sounds good, but you need to check the lot and location. So we're going to do that online real quick because that house may look good, but you need to utilize Google Maps and take a look at the neighborhood. Like the house next door might be really in bad shape, and the house on this side might be really in bad shape, and the property across the street might be a business park. So how much of a buyer is going to want to live there, right? Probably not too many are going to want to live there, right? So like that could be the backyard. Okay, so literally like that house there abuts the parkway, so you get a lot of that noise. So you have to factor that in when doing your analysis, right? Because I think that's Parkview Road or Parkview, but let's say Parkview down this end, there's no road noise and the backyard's serene and there's wildlife and stuff. But then you get this part of Parkview and it's, you know, you're throwing snowballs on cars on the parkway. It's a different value. So you need to know that. Could be could be a 10% swing in value. It could be your profit right there because you didn't do your homework. You didn't, it's important to know what's around the property. I don't like steps, so properties like this, I'll usually pass on them unless the price is like phenomenally low. I would pass on something like that. Or if there's a way to put off-street parking in the back, you know. Okay, so we're going to, like for this one, you would think, Alex, you just said don't buy that. Well, I bought it. Okay, but I bought it knowing that, oh darn it, I must have eliminated that slide. So this property here, it had a weird lot. The lot went straight back. There was no parking in the back. But this lot went back and then this way. It was an L-shaped lot. And there was an alley back there. And the garage that you would have thought went to this house on the left actually went to this house. So we bought it and we sold that and made a really nice profit. But we bought it at a cheap price. So, but regardless, I would normally pass on those if the price is really good. And then you research it and realize, oh crap, that comes with a garage too. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can do this without screwing this up. So hang in there.
Flip, right?
Yes. Okay. So properties to analyze.
That's a pretty steep backyard.
Yeah, that one's yeah, I'd pass on that one.
But there's no steps.
Control. All right, so this is a house one of my partners sent to me. He said, hey, check this out. I love him. He sends me no details whatsoever. What do you think this is worth, Al? I don't know, man. Is it occupied? Can I get in? No. Okay, great. So this house is Hatteras Street. This is Troy Hill. So Troy Hill, if you know right now, it's kind of hot. It's kind of a hot area. For what reason? I have no idea. It's hot right now. So prices are going up. So Hatteras is a good area. That price on it is $40,000. So the first thing I'm going to do, since I can't go get inside before I get in my car, I'm going to research it. This is the Allegheny County website. Everybody's been on there.
There's nothing there.
Oh, shoot. Hoover, where are you? Wait, let me
There's
just
a
do it.
promo thing open there, Alex.
Drag
To
it.
the left.
Oh, wait, I almost did it there. Hey, hey. Okay, yeah, but I can't see it on here. Anyway, this is that's the house on Hatteras, okay? So, that doesn't tell me a whole lot other than I can see what's around it. So it looks like you got some big buildings there. I don't know. To me, I don't like it as a right, just off the cuff. I'm like, okay, there's not much of a yard. Parking lot in the back. There's no yard. So that.
Which one of those on Hatteras are we looking at?
The one in
One with the red.
Oh, the red.
Yeah.
Did you say that was L-shaped?
No.
Different
This is.
place altogether.
I'm quickly going through like a property that was sent to me, and they say, hey, Alex, what do you think this is worth? Okay. Wow. Okay. Let me. Okay. That's where I'm going to start. So Hatteras. Next, I'm going to go to. So what's that address? You gotta love Google Maps because it's super cool. 1620 Hatteras. So the next thing I'm going to do. All right. Wonderful. So now we get to see. That doesn't look too bad, right? Not bad. What do you guys see first and foremost? What's the house need? Yep, the roof. Bingo. It needs soffit and fascia painted. Box gutters potentially. They could be in good shape, but yeah, that roof. Okay, I'm already looking at. Okay, I got 10 grand worth of exterior work, just ballpark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To make it good. All right, let's see what's around it. We got this place. We got whatever that is. Got some garages. Yeah. For Troy Hill, this is. If this was Upper St. Clair, Mount Lebanon, I'd be like, Troy Hill, this is okay so far. So now we're gonna go. Let's go this way. Take a look down this street. See what we got in the back. And you remember that? Remember we talked about the parking lot in the backyard? Well, there it is. Right? That's the house right here, I guess. Right there. So not much of a yard. They want $40,000 for it. To be honest with you, it's marginal. I'm probably going to go look at that tomorrow. Right? I'll go look at it tomorrow. I don't even know. I don't know where he got it from. It's probably. I'm guessing it's a tax sale. It's probably like there's probably a treasurer sale coming up at the sheriff's sale. I'm guessing. That's why we can't get in it. It's boarded up. Can't go inside. So I'll do what I can do.
Before you go to the gold room.
He will. He does. Yeah. But he relies on me for certain values and stuff. So I would go look at that only because that area is so hot. If that was on Elliott or if that was in Mount Oliver and it was that same situation, I would not even get in my car. But that one warrants me getting in my car. Okay?
If you
Now-
turn the camera to 1505 Claim, keep going. Right there, that white door.
This one?
No, the one with the little awning.
Right here.
Yeah, I saw that. It's a duplex. Sold
Whoa.
for 90
Really? Just recently?
earlier this year. Yeah.
market
go.
market values have just through the roof up there, right? You could have probably bought that for 40 3 years ago.
Yeah, they're getting, the
insane.
investor is getting 600 for the first floor unit and 12 for the second floor.
Wow.
Because it's, the top floor is actually, like, there's actually three levels. So the top unit is
They're getting
somehow 4 bedrooms,
1,200?
it's crazy.
They're
Yeah.
getting 1,200 for that second.
So you got to know
The second floor.
you got to know your market,
Second,
right?
third
Gum,
floor,
I'm
right?
I wouldn't
gotta
even
raise
I
my
wouldn't even
rent up
I wouldn't
there.
have guessed that. Yeah. I
It's
wouldn't
all
have guessed that.
They completely redid the second and third floors, and they figured out a way to make it 4 bedrooms up there. And they
Oh,
have a whole
jeez.
family living up there, and then the downstairs is a
Man.
1 bedroom that they're getting 600 for.
Yeah, I think there was one on this street a wholesaler had.
Holy jeez.
It was
That
like
one right there with the brown, yeah,
this one
no, next to it.
right here.
Yep.
Yeah, there was one up there. It was like, man, I went.
They were gutting that.
There was one for it was 19,000. This is real recent. Was this the one? It was 19,000. I went and looked at it. I'm like, dude, I'll give you 20 right now. He's like, nope. I gotta wait, let everybody see it. You know, do my due diligence. He wants to make more money, right? So, yeah, it ended up selling for like 40. I'm like, what? 40? So the price is the problem with Pittsburgh is the great thing about Pittsburgh is prices are reasonable. The problem with Pittsburgh is the price is reasonable.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming here. They got money. They got deep pockets, and they're buying and buying. They're paying too much, and in most cases, they're going to fail. But temporarily, it's hurting the investors who know what they're doing, because I'm not going to overpay. You just can't do it. You know, 1 out of 10, those guys are going to get lucky. 9 out of 10, they're going to fail. It's the way it is. So Pittsburgh has its pros and cons. The demand's real high, prices are low, but that's just the way it is. That's why you have to look at a lot of properties. Let's look at one more, and then we'll get Josh up here. A lot in Sheridan for $6,000. This is one he thought that was a good deal, and I'm like, that doesn't $6,000 Sheridan. It's an acre and 1.3 acres. So since I know the area real well, I just look it up real quick, and it's easy for me. If you didn't know the area, it would be difficult for you. You'd have to get in the car and go look at it, right? You would have to, and do some research on values. It might take you might spend an hour or two researching values, going to look at this, and realize it's really not a good deal. For $6,000, that doesn't look bad, right? But all these little townhomes here are probably $70,000 townhomes, maybe 80, maybe 90. Okay, what are you going to do with 1.3 acres in Sheridan where there's no demand? What are you going to do with it? You know, you could probably subdivide it and build 2 houses there, but it's going to cost you $150 a square foot to build a house. 150 times 1,000 square feet is $150,000. Yeah, you know, so you got to know when to pull the trigger and when not to. Now, the other thing you need to look at is, okay, what other intrinsic value am I missing here? Oh, okay, because Ryan Homes used to own this. The previous owner was Ryan Homes. So I'm thinking, well, maybe they were going to develop all this, right? They were going to have a way to get in here, and then they were going to come up through Clearfield right here, which is a cul-de-sac, and now you have an egress and you have 2 ways in and out, right? Looks pretty good. But I'm pretty sure, 95% sure, this is a cemetery here. Cemetery here. So you're talking about this little space here, and to me it's just $6,000 is not a lot of money, but what am I going to do? We're going to have a $6,000 lot that's worth $6,000. Okay, so would that be super valuable to you if you owned maybe this house here? I'd probably pay $10,000 if I owned that house, maybe $15,000, because now I own this house and now all this property. Right, it's worth it to me. Okay, and then we'll look at. Let's get Josh up here. So
if
just
you're 30 years old, would you buy that for $6,000 and
No.
say I'm willing to wait 20 years?
no.
What happens to that part of Pittsburgh?
Nope. That's just me, but I might be wrong. Believe me, I might be dead wrong, and that could have been the buy of the century. Josh, he runs REIA, and he's got a wealth of knowledge, has a lot of good input on where you can market yourself and how to do things creatively. Sometimes he goes way over my head when he starts talking about creative means. I like to keep things simple, but everybody welcome Josh Caldwell. Thanks, Josh.
How many of you guys know what I'm going to talk about? That's good, because I have no idea what the hell I'm going to talk about. I never pre-script anything, so for me it's always kind of stream of consciousness. Whatever the hell comes out is whatever comes out. So if you have a thought, a question, feel free to jump in somewhere. It will literally take us in a whole other direction. Today we're going to talk about marketing, which is the act of finding deals. And while I sat behind you, I noticed something very strange. Take a look around, guys, at each other. What do you notice? Look at the preponderance of blue, gray, and black. It is staggering how much you guys have accidentally herded yourself into the same herd without any contact among you. I was amazed. One guy is wearing a brightly colored shirt to be noticed. In the world of marketing, we always want to go where the herd is not going. You know, if I tell you guys that there's $1,000 hidden somewhere in this room, you're all going to rush around the room like crazy people, but only one of you gets it. That's a shitty deal for everybody else, isn't it? But that's what we usually try to do when we're looking for properties. We go to the MLS. Now, as an investor, I do not buy the same way I sell. I sell on the MLS. Because the MLS, everything sells at market price. The last frickin' thing I want to do on the planet Earth is buy something at market price. That is a heinous concept to me. Now, if I expose something to the MLS, somebody in Pakistan in a frickin' cave can come up and buy this thing. Is that a fair statement? So why do I want to compete with the entire rest of the universe to find a deal? I want the deals that nobody else knows about. This is where active marketing comes into play. Unlike the stock market, where everybody can figure out the price of a stock and what went into the math, real estate is asymmetric. And when I say it's asymmetric, what I mean is the information is not shared equally. If this nice lady up front knows about a phenomenal deal, she is the only person who will ever know about that deal before she closes on it. Is that a fair statement? Or are you going to get silly and decide, I'm going to advertise this before I get it under contract and let everybody else know what a great deal this is? Frick, no, you are not. So we want to look where nobody else is looking, okay? That is our goal in the world of marketing. One of my students just tripped across a deal, and I mean tripped across. She was talking to an attorney, an estate attorney. Now, the math on this deal doesn't require a lot of analysis. She's looking at buying a house where there was a sold comp on that street within the last 2 months of $184,000, okay? They want $70,000. It appears to need $20,000 in work. Anybody interested in that deal? Tough shit, she got it. And she got it because she was running her mouth to the right people, which is really what marketing is. Marketing is flapping your gums. It's letting the world know what you do so that they can come to you with the things that they have. Before I get too far off in this psychotic tangent, I guess I should probably introduce myself, which is a non sequitur here, but my name is Josh Caldwell. I run the Pittsburgh REIA. Before I leave, I'm going to give you my website and email address. Don't let me walk out without that. I've written for more than 200 publications at this stage. I've been a radio show host, an author. I've been interviewed 5 times to do one of those Flip This House shows. I am neither attractive nor interesting. Burns my ass, but yes. But I'm also pretty good at the marketing part. So let's talk about how you find deals that the herd isn't going after. Is that something that might interest you guys?
Sure.
Anybody ever talk to a lawyer? For any reason? Of course. What information do lawyers have that the public doesn't have?
Who's getting divorced?
They know about chaos. They know about death and destruction and divorce, which is horrible chaos. These are instances where somebody has something that they need to liquidate. Divorce is a great example because when you've got divorce, you've got 2 people that frickin' hate each other to where they're willing to suffer to get away from each other. In those instances, a lot of times they'll say, screw it, I know the house is worth 100, I'll let it go at 50 just to never talk to that other person again. Do you want to be standing there when that conversation happens? You have to be in the ear of the divorce attorney for that. Is that a fair statement? Estate attorneys, death and destruction. The real estate attorneys, When they get themselves into litigation, a lot of times landlords want out. Landlords are great people to buy houses from. Alex alluded to it with his property management conversation. Bad landlords are the people you generally want to buy houses from because they're not making any money. Any concept of how you might be able to track bad landlords? Oh, you're going to like this. Magistrates. You find a landlord who's walking out of the magistrate office for the 3rd time that week, they hate their frickin' life, they hate their frickin' property, they hate their frickin' tenants. There's somebody who's willing to let a house go for what they have into it. Now, if they did the traditional method, they put 20% down plus on this property, so there's already 20% spread built into this before this conversation even starts. It may have taken them 5 or 10 years to burn out as landlords, so they've got that debt pay down. So now they might only owe 60% of its value, and they're desperate to stop living the way that they live. Alex alluded to it earlier, your D-class landlords, I don't understand how they function. I have friends who are D landlords where they literally own ghetto properties and spend all of their time in court. I'd be on trial for murder. There's almost no question about that. But I've got friends who love that lifestyle. But other people pursue that because the math is very seductive. The cash flow in D and F and G level properties is phenomenal. But the headaches that go with it will burn a lot of people out. So you can get people who will bail out on that. Who else knows about landlord chaos other than magistrates? Come on, this is an interactive event. How about the police? Do the police ever have to take down the drug dealer who's living in the landlord's property? Does that ever happen? Do the police ever have to show up at a domestic dispute because the husband and wife are trying to kill each other? Does that ever happen? Do the police ever have to show up for whatever chaos? Are the police a possible source of this information? Other than me, does anybody ever talk to the police? Anybody gonna talk to the police? Let me give you a couple other ones. Code enforcement. Who knows when somebody isn't taking care of their property? And what is not taking care of your property? It's almost a cry for help. It's almost screaming, Josh, please come buy me. Because they either can't or won't take care of their property, this thing's diminishing in value in their mind. I was talking about it a little bit earlier, but one of my favorite deals I ever did was on a horrible, hideous, heinous property. It was Marshall Shadeland. Somebody had been murdered there within the last week or so on that street. The house itself did not have windows. It did not have a door. The copper was long gone. The entire kitchen had been stolen at this stage. And the back wall was bowing in from the hillside. Anybody other than me get excited when I describe this house?
Not at all.
Ah! Let me tell you about the deal.
Let me tell you about a house Allison I saw yesterday.
I'll tell you about the deal, then I'll ask you if you were excited again. I bought the house for $1 because the guy didn't want it. It was nothing but a headache for him.
Yeah.
I sold it for a mere $10,000. I had almost 2 hours of work in that project. Interested in that deal now?
I don't know. No, I always say you paying money and you paying aggravation.
I had almost 2 hours into that. I probably took some time out to watch some cartoons or something.
All good.
There was some frustration with Google trying to get my picture to load on a Craigslist. I actually did have to step into the property, which is a little concerning for me because I wasn't so sure about the floor. But I was looking where nobody else was looking. And that's really a lot of the way marketing should work. I'm looking for houses that aren't for sale. Those are the ones I want, or the ones that are being sold very poorly. The sexiest for sale sign to me on the planet Earth is the for sale by owner that's about this big, and the faded writing on it, I have to stand 3 feet away in their yard to see what the hell this says. And even then, I'm not sure I can make out the numbers. I love that sign. It's usually on a dead-end road where there are literally 2 other houses that drive past this property every day. And they can't figure out why this damn house hasn't sold. That's the house I want. So just talking about targeting parameters, does anybody have any idea how you identify potential sellers? Anybody? I kind of touched on. Go ahead.
Might be moving,
People who might be moving, that's phenomenal. If you can tap into job transfers. If you were to find out that Westinghouse is relocating to Tennessee and you could get a hold of Westinghouse employees, would that be a valuable list to you? That'd be a phenomenal list. Anybody who's really, you're looking for chaos, you're looking for fringe stuff, because there's huge money in chaos and fringe. A lot of the stuff that I like to do if I'm actively marketing, I'll do a lot of direct mail stuff, okay? Direct mail, my primary target on direct mail is out-of-area owners. Because out-of-area owners can be people who've already job transferred. It can be inherited property. It can be divorces where they have split and walked the heck away. It can be marriages where two adults already had houses and they moved into one house or the other, or they bought a combined house and they've got houses sitting. It can be landlords, it can be institutions, it can be a lot of things. But what it isn't is it isn't an owner-occupied property. That's my first targeting criteria. Typically what I'll do is I'll buy something from a list source, Listability, melissadata.com, one of those kind of, are you guys familiar with list source companies? I'm getting like 3 yeses. These are companies that will scavenge public record to find out if the owner actually lives in the property. And then they will build lots of lists that will give you the owner's actual contact information and segregate it however you want to segregate it. You can segregate it by zip code, by property type, by size of the property, by value, whatever your targeting criteria is. But I want those lists to give me the ability to reach out and talk to people who do not live in the properties that they own, because they're a higher percentage kill for me than almost anything else. And I will send them a direct mail piece that is the dumbest thing you've ever seen. It goes against everything you have ever been taught in a marketing class, and it also gets a higher return than anything else I have ever seen. It's known generically as the yellow letter, originally created by Donna McNeil when she was working as Ron LeGrand's private secretary, and she did it by accident. She was in a hurry. And she wrote this stupid thing on, let me steal from you for a second, a yellow notebook. Simple. Written in red ink, and it literally says, hello, blank. My name is Josh. I would like to buy your house at blank. Please call me. Stupid, isn't it? Does anybody know why it works? You, sir.
Well, like she just said, it stands out, but it's kind of just, it's not like very professional, where that kind of drives people away when they see like all the...
That's exactly. It's not intimidating.
Right.
Nobody's afraid to call me. I've split tested a lot of different direct mail. The worst one I ever came up with was I used lawyer stationery. Frickin' nobody called me on that. But the one where they think I'm too stupid to write a professional letter, they want to talk to me because they're not afraid of me stealing a house from them or slicking them out of something. They just think, okay, look, this is just some normal schmo who doesn't know enough about how to write a letter.
It's non-threatening.
Yeah, there's nothing dangerous about the letter.
So it's honest.
Yeah, well, it is. I would like to buy their house. And I'm very interested in buying their house. We still need to determine what that deal is, but I'm interested in buying their house.
And Josh, do you suggest, like, so you sent out 1,000 of these? If you did, would you handwrite each one or make them look like they're handwritten in the envelope and regular stamp on them?
Very much so. The fullness of the technique, Alex, I should clarify this, is it is literally a handwritten. It's effective enough that I never send out more than 10 a week. Let that sink in for a second. Yes.
There's I learned about this a couple months ago here. There's a website, I believe it was here, that you can actually like purchase like multiple copies.
Yeah.
There's probably a couple.
There's some where you can upload the list to a sourcing center that will print the whole thing and mail it for you. And the font looks very handwritten. YellowLetterLady.com is originally from Pittsburgh. She lives in Bradenton, Florida now. But they'll do it for you. Those ones will not track as well as the ones that are actually handwritten. I don't quite understand why the psychology part works, but slightly sloppy handwriting actually returns better than really good handwriting. And the font's a little too good. It is in a number 9 envelope, about yo big, invitation size. hand write the address on the front, real stamp your address on the back, again, all in red ink. We're noticing that pastel colors on the envelope track a little bit better than the standard yellowish. Yeah, the psychology of this is baffling. And it's nothing you would ever guess, but in testing it in the real world, it hits better than anything else in existence. Yes, ma'am?
It's probably because everybody's very used to getting
Yeah.
slick.
Professional looking postcards with your
Right.
picture standing there.
Right, and-
Give a
and-
fuck what you look like.
Actually printed that looks like handwriting, but you know it is.
Yeah.
And people are very savvy.
Yeah.
nowadays, so.
They really are. Well, the first thing you have to get through in direct mail is they have to look at it. If it's obviously junk mail, it's getting tossed without me even focusing on what it says. It could be selling me windows, life insurance, a trip to Disney. I don't care. I'm not even going to look at it. If I wanted to buy your stupid product, I'd probably contact you. So it looks like a letter from grandma or a personal invitation from some long-lost relative. So it actually gets opened, which is the first and most difficult step of the batch. People who do a lot of direct mail will tell you that a 1 to 3% rate is fantastic. I can hit a 30 to 50% rate depending on what neighborhood I'm going after. The D-ish, you'll get closer to the 50s. The A's, you'll get closer to the 15, 20s. Just because more people are trying to hit that. In places like Lawrenceville, it gets oversaturated and it's hard to use. You have to go different technique on that. But that will get your phone ringing. Yes, ma'am.
What's your preferred list source?
I like Melissa Data.
Melissa Data?
It's melissa.com. List source and listability are almost interchangeable with them. I think it's just because I gravitate to the personal name and Melissa was smart enough to market to me. I don't really see a significant difference in any of those companies. Yes, sir.
You were saying for marketing, couldn't you go to the local municipalities and check for delinquent taxes?
I could, but that sounds like effort. I'm lazier than that. I try to do as little work as humanly possible while accomplishing the mission. If I can get a list of, say, 10,000 people with 15 seconds playing on my computer, that's the way I'm going to attack it. But you're right, I can go that way. In those times when I'm looking for something specific, you know, if I'm looking for a flip house and I want to go talk to a code enforcer, yeah, that's worth my time. You know, tell me about your ugly, hideous houses. I guess I might as well explain that a bit. If I'm talking to somebody in code enforcement, I'm not asking them as an investor, I'm asking them as somebody who wants to help them. Mr. Code Enforcer, tell me about the people that are a pain in your ass. Tell me about the people who simply won't listen to you. Tell me about your problem children. Because I like to buy houses and I like to fix them up. If I can get a hold of any of these, I will make that not a problem for you. So what do you got? And you'll be amazed that those guys, the help that those kind of people will give you. A greatly overlooked section of the population is garbage men. Garbage men know exactly when somebody's moving out. They also know when somebody's trashed a house for a landlord. Garbage men have a lot of information and nobody talks to them. You give a garbage man a box of donuts, you've got a friend for life. The mailmen are very similar. If you're looking for houses that are in some way on the margin or even getting ready to be sold, the mailman will know about it. Mailmen know their roots like you wouldn't believe. And they're happy to talk to you because they mostly just walk down the street, nobody talks to them. Nobody pays any attention to them. But you walk in, have a 30-second, or just walk along their route. I just got a couple nice leads in Swickley that way. Anybody else know a good way to find Swickley properties? Talk to the mailman. Anybody ever consider actually doing outbound calls to people?
Are you saying just cold calls?
Just cold
Yeah.
callers?
Picking up the phone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Time consuming, big pain in the ass, low hit ratio. However, when you do find one, it's worth attacking. You generally want to make it to a list that's high profit but hard to penetrate, like pre-foreclosures. Anybody ever deal with pre-foreclosure? Pre-foreclosure people are pissed off. Everything's going bad for them. All their calls are generally from people who want to collect from them, so they're not happy and they're looking for somebody to vent on. It's nice. There are some big money hits to be had in that market just by walking those people out of foreclosure and taking over their debt, which is a whole other technique. And you will get yelled at a lot. However, it doesn't have to be you who does it. onlinejobs.ph. You can hire Filipino virtual assistants for $4 and $5 an hour to make these phone calls for you.
What's it called?
What's that?
onlinejobs.ph. I used to have a Filipino who wrote ad copy for me. He had a master's degree in English from Michigan State. He cost me $5.50 an hour. Yeah. You'll be amazed the stuff you
You
can.
have his number or email?
I don't. Somewhere at home I do. I can look for them. But onlinejobs.ph, you will find it's every bit what Fiverr is for online stuff. For those of you who aren't familiar with Fiverr, anybody? Fiverr.com. You can get anything done online for Fiverr. You can have commercials made that you can drop across the internet. You can go to onlinejobs.ph and have people drop those commercials into all sorts of local blogs if you really felt like it. It's a lot of effort. You don't really have to go that far, but if you felt like winding yourself up like that, you could. Anybody ever seen a bandit sign out there? The We Buy Houses? Anybody own a shirt that says that? Anybody willing to be their own bandit sign? You'll be amazed. I've got a couple of those. I'll walk through the grocery store. Random strangers will stop me to tell me about a house they're trying to sell. Just out of the blue. The advanced version of that, they make, and I don't know what the hell it's called. You can get it on eBay for like $6. It is literally an LED screen that scrolls a text that magnetically attaches to my shirt. And it'll say either We Buy Houses or whatever message. Fricking people will stop you in public, walk up and look at it just to see what the hell it says. It is amazing. And then they'll, oh yeah, my friend next door is trying to sell a house. Ding ding, we have a winner. My friend John Iannotti actually bought a garbage box truck just to paint We Buy Houses on the side of it. Then he'd park it on McKnight Road. So now you've got like a 10-foot by 10-foot billboard that says We Buy Houses with your phone number on it. And you're violating absolutely no rules, regulations, or laws. I think he spent $6 grand on that and then proceeded to buy 50 houses off of it. But that kind of thinking, the going away from the herd is the mentality you really want to adopt. In the world of bandit signs, the We Buy Houses signs, there are some tricks. Strangely enough, the pre-printed signs do not track as well as handmade signs. I thank George Kunick, who's one of the city police officers, for that trick. George was, I don't know, in a hurry or whatever. He decided he was going to make his own stupid sign. Writes it up, laminates the sucker, puts some reflective tape around the edges, so it's actually seeable. He discovered two things. First is that code enforcement will not bother the handmade sign nearly as much as they'll bother the printed sign. Stupid, but true. Secondly, people are more likely, based, I believe, on the same psychology that makes the yellow letter work, to call the handmade sign. I don't know if they're just, if the thinking is that you're no threat, or that you're just somebody normal like them, or that you're just not slick, but that sign tracks better than the normal printed signs. If you don't want to go that far, the world of the printed sign, there are two colors that track better than every other combination. Black and gold, which is quite nice for Pittsburgh, and blue and white, which is evil and has some relation to State College. But yeah, either of those combinations, the human eye tracks better. You need to have them in places where people stop, you know, at red lights and stop signs. If it's along, say, 79 and people are passing it at 80 miles an hour, you've just wasted whatever you spent on that sign, because nobody can see your phone number at that speed. The general laws and the way they'll be enforced is the better the neighborhood, the shorter the life of your bandit sign, is almost a truism. All of the regulations on that are generally written around nailing something to a telephone pole. However, they don't generally cover nailing something to a tree that can be right next to the telephone pole. They also will tend to have a longer lifespan if you put them on the edge of neighborhoods where that tree might be in this neighborhood or might be in that neighborhood. You'll find the laziness of government employees will help you, because neither one of them will attack your sign. Another little bit of human psychology there. What other directions do you want me to go? I can talk about this for days, literally. Anybody online? Anybody with Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube? Any of you guys using any of those? Anybody running their mouth? Yes, ma'am. What are you doing?
I do social media for my business and a couple businesses I have. So.
Fantastic. What kind of stuff do you do?
Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter. I do a lot of targeted boosted posts on Facebook.
Okay. What's your other business?
It's very unrelated to this. I started a business about a decade ago when I lived in California, and we produce art shows in California.
Okay. So you just need to get the word out to people?
Yeah, but to people who have money to spend on art.
Yeah. Well, same thing as people who need to have something to spend on houses. Whole other planet, but yeah, I'll do my best to link those.
Just started a little, we're doing our first flip, and I've started social media for that as well.
Good. Let's talk about your first flip.
Okay.
When do you want to start marketing that sucker?
We've been marketing it.
Good answer. Yeah. Not the one I was expecting, but good answer. Yeah. I thought we were going to have to drag that one out of you. You start marketing that thing if you're looking to sell it about the second that you get a hold of it. And then you can go through and show everybody what you're doing. Right. Video is very useful that way.
Yeah, I've been doing video slideshows, and I've worked for general contractors, and one thing, this is a little different market, but if you belong to a trade association like NARI, National Association of Remodeling Industry, they have local awards, and generally not a lot of people, fewer people enter than there are awards, so if you enter your house, you can very easily get an award-winning house, but you have to know how to put together the package.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
And some nice marketing in the process.
Right, and so people want to own a house that's, be able to tell their friends they have an award-winning house, or when you're selling it.
I like that a lot.
That's cool.
The way I would break down a flip house if I thought I was going to have to work for it is at the point where I buy that thing, I'm going to do a video monologue and walk through the house. And I'm going to do straight Bob Vila style as we do this. This is Bill. Bill's putting a hole in this wall. Do the video. Bill's doing the demo. Next week, Bill's doing the cleanup. Next week, Bill's doing the wire. Bill's doing all the work. Josh is just holding the damn camera. And I'm going to keep uploading those. But one other trick that I'm going to add to my videos before I do that is I'm going to parasite off of whoever it is that has the best video in that category. So I'll Google Pittsburgh Flip House Fox Chapel. Whatever the best video is that pops up, I'm going to copy and paste all of their text into my video text. So that every time anybody hits them, they'll also hit me.
That's good.
Not that I would ever suggest something this horrible, but I will sometimes put Howard Hanna's name in the screen in white font so you can't see it. But the crawlers will sure as hell pick up on it. I might also do that to some of the other realtors. But you know, if you have a keyword like that, it can be on there unseen by the human eye, but picked up because it's what's already been proven to be the most searchable term for whatever the hell it is that you're looking for. I stole that from a friend of mine who is phenomenal at the internet marketing stuff. Little bastard retired at 23 because he made $15 million that year just marketing products. Yeah. Some point I need to get him to come up to Pittsburgh. He's just so far over normal people's heads that it's kind of, it's very Rain Man-like to watch. But yeah, stuff like that just, I adore stuff like that. The world of Facebook can be very powerful. I won't generally boost anything, just because I've got a decent enough herd that follows me. But I will tag in other people who have big herds, you know, in my area. You know, just tag them in to have that Facebook post. The reason that I built Pittsburgh REIA into, good God, I think we're at 13 subgroups now, and most of them have their own Facebook page. Our flippers Facebook page is more than 1,000 people. So if I were looking to wholesale something to flippers, I'd want to drop it to that page, and I'd look for similar pages.
What's your Facebook page?
Just look at Pittsburgh REIA and almost anything.
The name of the page is Pittsburgh REIA?
They all have some relationship to Pittsburgh REIA. That one is wholesalers and flippers.
REIA.
Yes.
What is your website then? Is it Pittsburgh REIA?
PittsburghREIA.com. I do a free newsletter that you guys literally should be all be on. We announce everything that we're doing, whether it's networking or marketing. We throw deals through that. And it becomes a resource for everybody. And you're really not going to get a better price than free. Yeah,
You guys,
never.
And you meet every
Third Tuesday. In fact, this coming Tuesday, you may want to join me. In fact, I might as well throw out that invite now. We're going to do a seminar to teach you how to invest tax-free inside your IRA account. Anybody ever done any of that mess? One of you, three maybe. You can flip a house tax-free if you know how to do it correctly. You can make rental income tax-free if you do it correctly. It's like almost every law. There's almost... Before I launch into this, my background is law enforcement. I'm a retired federal law enforcement agent. In the world of real estate law, there are always exemptions to the rule. You want to find the exemption and figure out how to make the law not apply to you. That's actually why most people get into police in the first place. You like to drive fast? You know how you're allowed to legally speed? Put a frickin' siren and lights on the roof. It's not hard. But the thing we're going to talk about on Tuesday is literally exemption to IRS law, where you're allowed to make ridiculous amounts of money inside an IRA account without paying taxes. It's kind of a cool subject. You can lend privately. You can do almost anything in real estate except partner with your wife, grandparents, or children. That's about the only prohibited transaction in that world. What else? Where else do you guys want me to go with this?
Can you give us the address and the time for that
Yes.
meeting?
The time, we start networking at 6 p.m. The main meeting will kick off at 7. We'll give you an hour to just talk amongst yourself, which is very powerful. A lot of deals are made in that room. We go till 9-ish. The address is in Ross Township. It's literally, you go up 79, take the Perrysville exit and go straight through the intersection. Go down Cemetery Lane, and the first large building that does not look like a cemetery is the building you're aiming for. If you find yourself among tombstones, you have screwed up. The actual address is 3579 Masonic Way, Pittsburgh 15237.
But if you basically just go to Pittsburgh REIA,
Yeah.
they can get a hold of you.
Yes.
And they know where it is and what time. And
The
and
contact us
I
comes
would
directly to
suggest
me.
everybody in here should be a member because it's cost
It's a whopping $109 a year.
109. So
Thank
come
God
on.
you guys are sitting down before I
If you
launch
just get
that.
one item from one meeting, or it's a one nugget, it could change your life. So
Yes.
even if you don't go to the meetings, still be a member, network. They have subgroups. Like this is a subgroup of REIA. So just help Josh out by joining his group because he's kind enough to spend his time and his knowledge and come here and help us. Contact him for the list of lists,
That'll work.
and any other marketing ideas that he may have. If you go to the REIA meetings, it's always a different topic. Last month you had the Mr. Landlord.
Yeah, Jeffrey Taylor's phenomenal.
I missed that one, but the guy's a guru of landlording. He's really
Yeah.
got some neat ideas. But be a couple more questions for Josh, and then we're gonna summarize.
I
it
just
up.
had a comment, Josh. REIA also has discounts at
Yes.
Home Depot. I'm not sure if Lowe's has it, and they'll give you a code showing you're a REIA member on whatever it is. It's basically like a discount code.
Yeah, we've got that. We've got a discount on rehab estimating software. We've got private money. We've got hard money. Most of the dream team that you'd want to do a real estate business is already sitting in that room and has already been vetted by other real estate investors. I love when people talk about building their dream team. I'm like, dude, just seriously show up and say hi. That's the entire extent of how hard that has to be. Before I lose too much of what's left in my mind, the one that's really clicking in my mind right now is Vistaprint. You guys, how familiar are you guys with Vistaprint? Vistaprint for like, I don't know, $30 will do those little magnetic signs that say "We buy houses" that go on the side of your car. Anybody have any friends or people that you work with who are contractors? You think you can get them to put that on their car? The truck that drives all over the county? If you said something, "Look, man, I'll give you $100 every time you find me a house." You know, I'm a huge fan of incentivizing other people to bring me deals. So, I mean, I'll do joint venture splits with people, various levels of partnerships, but your people who aren't interested in real estate at all, you know, again, lawyers. Lawyers are every bit the whores that real estate investors are. They really are. So if you give them some sort of cut of a deal, you'll be amazed by the number of deals that start magically showing up in your inbox that nobody else will ever get a chance to see because nobody else is offering them anything for that delivery. Is that a fair statement? One of my favorite techniques, it's probably my only unique contribution to the field, is I call it the ant farm. I sell a lot of property on owner finance terms. I'll negotiate the purchase that way. I'll sandwich myself in the middle and I'll sell it. But there's a truism that happens whenever I sell something on owner financing. There are a lot more people who would like to buy my property than can actually buy it. I pick one. But I tell all the others, listen, I'm pretty good at negotiating these. If you go out and find me a property, I'll give you first dibs on it. So the 15 people that would normally just be pissed off because they didn't get the property now have an incentive to go out and find me deals. That requires zero effort on my part. And the less of my personal effort I have to put into my marketing, the bigger I can expand that marketing balloon. Does that make sense? I'm about of time like 5 minutes ago. Let me give you my email. It's on the PittsburghREIA.com website, but it is PittsburghREIA@AOL.com. Ask me questions. I love to coach. I do mentoring. I am a complete flippin' moron because I really did retire in 2012. Then I decided to create an entire job for myself because I like to teach. So if you ever look at me and think I'm smart, try to keep that in the back of your mind that I am a flaming flippin' moron. Because instead of spending my time relaxing, I created an entire function for myself. Yeah, just no, don't do this.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
Summarize what we talked about today, and I mean, I hope this met or exceeded your expectations as far as what we were covering. We covered so much content. It's just scratching the surface. So again, if you just stick with the basics, all this other stuff, it will come in time. You can't do the bandit signs and the mailers and the MLS and talking to the building code enforcement officer and calling the police. You can't do all that in one day. So pick a couple of these tools from your tool belt, stick to them, see how you like them. The easiest ones right now are probably working with an agent, MLS for sale by owner, but then you can add to that tool belt you have. So if I still have it up here, we'll just summarize real quick what we covered today. Now, why? Because you need to know why you're doing this. What gets you up in the morning? So why do you want to do this insane business? Because it's not easy, but the return, it could be awesome, right? So why do you want to do this? Have a vision. Have your business plan. Be learning based. Shut up and listen. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So learn from others who've done this before and take what you don't have to take what I tell you as gospel, but at least take what I tell you, and digest it and say, okay, I'm going to take I like what Alex said about this. I like what Josh said about that. I like what some other people told me about this and that. I put it together and then make your own decision based on all the information you collected. One step at a time, be patient. If it takes you 5 years to buy your first investment property, so be it. Then it'll take you 2 years to buy the next one, then 1 year to buy the next one after that. And then the next thing you know, you're up to buying a couple a year, a couple a month. How big you want to take it is the beauty of this business. Be humble and aggressive. Don't be a jerk. You got to be kind of like between Donald Trump and Jesus.
What that meant.
I didn't know if I wanted to, but Donald Trump is an egomaniac. I mean, whatever. He's president. But the guy, you got to look at the guy like, dude's successful, right? For a reason. Because he is aggressive and he's smart, but he's a jerk, right? For the most part. And Jesus, I mean, unless you want to walk around in sandals and, you know, a robe and just chill in the desert, maybe you want something in between there. Be nice like Jesus was, and be aggressive and smart like Donald Trump. But somewhere in the middle, okay? Let's just try to get somewhere in there. You're going to have to sacrifice, folks. If you don't want to sacrifice and not buy the Gucci purse or the Corvette, this is not the business for you. You shouldn't be an entrepreneur, because you have to give and give before you're going to get back. That's just the way it is. And finding deals, number one problem, number one challenge is finding the deals. So don't ever forget that. So like Josh said, if you have to wear a little, a sign on your shirt that says "I buy houses," whatever. You know, you got to break out of your bubble. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go to the grocery store with a sign that says "I buy houses." It's not going to happen. But it would work, right? So whatever works. Analyzing deals, super important. So once you get all this, once you learn how to market and then you have to learn how to analyze a deal quickly. So there's so many layers to this, right? So once you get to the point where, all right, I'm not a jerk. I can take one step at a time. I'm going to shut up and listen. I'm learning based. I'm going to sacrifice. Then you got to find the deals. And then once you find the deals, now you have to learn how to analyze them and analyze them quickly, because there's 18 other investors ready to jump on that deal. Okay, so it just takes time to get to that point. It's a numbers game. The more deals you see, the more deals you make offers on, the more deals you're going to eventually buy, and eventually the more profitable you're going to become. So you have to look at a lot of properties before you buy one. Got to have the availability of capital. If you don't have cash, you can do zero money down, you can do creative financing, but those deals are this many. And if you have cash, you have this many deals available to you. So this many versus this many. So capital is important. Then you have to learn management and accounting. You have to learn how to manage your business. You have to learn how to do accounting. You have to manage your properties. That's a whole learning process in itself. Legal and liability. We talked to the gentleman earlier about forming an LLC. Super important. I have a landlord right now who's getting sued, and his insurance company is not going to cover him because they say he was negligent. So he didn't get a repair done in time, so he's negligent. Therefore, his insurance doesn't cover it, right? Because they always try to find a way out not to cover, okay? And he owns this in his personal name. So now his personal assets are at risk. So that's why you should own something in an LLC. Super important, because that LLC insulates everything around it. But you can't. The one thing I want to ask my attorney is, what if in an LLC, what if you are negligent? Can they pierce that corporate shield and go after you personally? That brought up a question in my head, like, maybe I need to ask my attorney that. Should I have an umbrella policy in case they pierce that corporate shield? Does the umbrella policy cover negligence? There's a lot of liability in this game. So the bigger you are, the more properties you own, the bigger target you are. You have to learn to protect those assets. That's why you have to have a good attorney and a good business plan just to cover the assets. Risk management, you're always managing risk as an entrepreneur. There's always risk involved. You just need to, once you get good at it, you'll be able to manage that risk. You know there's risk involved, but you can take on that risk based on your knowledge and how much money you have, and you have to manage risk. It's constant managing of risk. There's always risk. And persistence. You're going to fail, you're going to screw up, you're going to get kicked, and you're going to get back up. And if you keep getting back up, eventually you're going to make it. So I hope this was helpful. Next month, look for the website. You always get emails when we're doing something new. It'll be the second Saturday of November, and I don't know what the topic's going to be. I think it's going to be construction, and we're going to have a construction guy in here. And please utilize our services, Deacon Hoover Real Estate Advisors. So if you need an agent, don't call Howard Hanna, call our company, please. You're still welcome to come, but just don't pass out any cards. And if you need property management, Mace Property Management. If you need mortgages or title, get a hold of me or Ian or Jason, just go to our website. Everything's on there if you need to get a hold of us. And there's a good podcast library on there, probably about 30 hours or so. Good stuff on there. It's all free. Thank you for coming. If you have any questions, I'm up here for probably about 20, 30 minutes.